Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
And on today's episode, we are discussing dating a non-vegan.
Oh my gosh.
Non-vegan had to rhyme. Potent didn't know it. Make
That
it
was
rhyme
actually
anytime.
pretty cute. I
You
like that one. I
Hey,
like
good.
it.
I didn't get a groan this time. That's pretty good.
Because it rhymed.
That's it. A non-vegan. No, we're doing dating a non-vegan, which I have not. I did it vegetarian.
Yes.
But you are happily married?
Shut up.
Is that okay?
Very happily married.
To a non-vegan.
To a non-vegan, yes. I have been married for 21 years.
Damn.
Yes, 21 years. My marriage can drink legally.
I was.
Oh, yes. How old were you?
18?
I was 22.
No, that's me.
Nope,
Yeah,
20,
18, yeah.
21 when I got married, 22 when we had our child. So, yes, I was a little baby when I got married.
Quite.
And obviously I was not vegan until like 6.5 years ago.
Oh.
So when I first went vegan, he was a little like, what the fuck? I have always been the kind of person, or I had always been the kind of person who tried to eat as healthy as I possibly could because my body like holds on to weight. I just gain weight and it stays there forever. So I've always tried to like eat healthy. And my husband is not a healthy eater, was not. God, I have it. It's like two different people. Was not a healthy eater. And so like I would try to eat healthy for, occasions. And then one day when I went, I'm just going to be vegan for like 3 weeks and see how it goes. I think he really thought she'll never be able to do this. She'll never be able to complete 21 days. There's no way. And I quickly fell in love with vegan food and the way that it made me feel. And he noticed that I wasn't giving up. I was actually diving way deeper into it. And I feel like he was just like, oh God, what the fuck does this mean for the rest of us? So I have two daughters as well. I have my daughter is 21 and my youngest is 17. So it wasn't just my husband, it was my children too that were like, oh my God, what is mom doing? Like, this is insanity. And to give you a little backstory on my husband, we lived in upstate New York for a few years, met in Florida, moved to upstate New York. Very, very difficult for this Floridian girl.
That's a night and day too.
Oh my God. It's traumatizing. Someday we'll have to talk about this on the podcast because it was rough.
I'm sure.
But his whole family lives in upstate New York. So we went back to live there to be closer to his family. And my husband was a hunter, hardcore hunter.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Has a nickname. He has a horrible nickname I will not repeat on the podcast because it will make everyone cry. Horrible nickname. Like legendary little hunter among his friends and family. And that's what he would do every Thanksgiving that we lived up there. They would go hunting on Thanksgiving, come back and eat. And that was just kind of life. And he had all his gear, all his stuff. And then here I am saying, I'm going to go vegan and not eat meat. And he's like, what? Oh, man, I feel for him. Wow. And of course he blamed you.
Yeah, that's fair. I was about to say, you're like, fuck that son of a bitch. I don't care how tall he is. Let's go, man. Wait, my day's been today, man. I am ready to throw. Let's go, man. Bring it on, Todd.
David's had a bad day.
No, I've had interesting.
But it has changed. Things have
how's
changed.
How's it now?
It's very different.
Well,
I can hand him any kind of vegan food and he'll shove it right in his mouth, no questions asked.
To back up real quick, because was there like any like not fight, but like debate or anything about it? Because or was he like, all right, fine, that's what you want to do, you won't last?
He was totally fine with it. There was one moment where we got in a little fight, and it was because he had cooked some meat, and I think I'd been vegan for like, I don't know, a few months. And when I first went vegan, I went for myself, for my health, not for animals. And so he hands me, like, he comes up in front of me, he's like, look at this beautiful piece of meat I cooked. And I was like, get that away from me, you're disgusting. I was like, that's like a carcass, get it away from me.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, you said it was for your health. It was like, not animals.
You
what?
changed the
no.
game. Yeah,
so mad.
Added rules that weren't there to begin with.
He was so mad. But I was like, listen, you can't be a vegan and not learn what is being done to animals. It changes your reasoning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anyone who isn't vegan for animals now. You may not have done that in the beginning for that reason, but you learn things, you watch videos, you learn statistics, you learn the truth, that's been hidden from you for so long.
Yeah.
And I was like, that changes things. And I was like, I am a vegan for animals. And he was like, okay, like, she's in this. And the longer I was engulfed in being vegan, the more he was just like, he knows me. You can't tell me I can't do something.
Like, I'm going to do it more. What does that mean? You know what that means.
Absolutely going to do it more. Like, you could try, but that would be the end of this, because no, you're not going to tell me what to do.
I'm going to be more vegan. What?
I never made anyone in the family eat vegan food. I know that some people, when they go vegan, like the wife, if she goes vegan, she makes the rest of the family go vegan too. I have heard of people that do that. I am not that kind of person. Not that I'm knocking you are. You do whatever you want to do. That means less animals are dying, so go for you.
Right.
But I don't feel like I should impose my beliefs of any kind on anyone. Sure. I don't impose my religious beliefs on anyone, not even my children. They get to make their own decisions on religion. I'm not going to impose my vegan beliefs on anyone, even if they're in my family. I knew that the more that I ate vegan and the more they tried my food, that they would be at least a little bit swayed. Now, my youngest, she eats like, I would say, like 75% vegan. I would say my oldest, when she lived with us, was about the same. She doesn't live with us anymore, so I don't know what she eats. I have no idea.
I don't want to know.
But my husband, I really don't.
College kid living on her own.
Lord knows what
just
she's eating,
honey
like
buns,
ramen and Cheez-Its. I don't know.
Just cookies and just whatever.
No idea. Whatever her little heart can afford.
Exactly.
My husband, I started this telling you he had a hunting nickname. He now eats, I would say, 85% vegan. And I am not exaggerating. I'm not trying to hype it up. Every night that I make my purple carrot meals, I add a little extra, like vegetables or tofu or tempeh to kind of beef it up. And he eats it, and so does my youngest daughter, every single time.
Nice.
Tonight, I made some Just Egg and some of the who makes the vegan sausage?
Vegan sausage people.
I can't remember the brand. Shit.
I made some. No, my God. Field Roast?
Yes, I think it was them. Yes.
Yeah.
So I had vegan sausage and I had some Just Egg. And I made some toast, and that was my dinner. And I was like, here, come over and try it. Because he doesn't really like the Just Egg. And I totally get that. It's, it's not for everybody. And he took a big old bite without question. If it had been a few years ago, no, absolutely not. He would not have even bothered. It would never have tried it. But because he's had some health concerns in the past few years, he's like, I might as well follow your lead. Because
that's right.
Every time someone in this family gets sick, for the most part, I don't get sick. Like everybody in this house got COVID one time and I was fine. I was a little run down, but I don't even think that was from having it. I think it's from taking care of them for days and working. So like I think he sees that I am overall healthier in general than he is, and he's just like, I guess I might as well go for it. And also he doesn't want to make his own meal.
Right.
So if I'm just making one, he's gonna eat it.
Guess what?
And I would say like there are times he doesn't like it. He does not like every vegan meal, but I don't like every, like when I was non-vegan, I didn't like everything I ate either. So that's fine with me.
Right.
But he likes the majority of things, and he'll be like, oh, add this to the list to make this again. I like this. This is really good. He actually had a tofu dish the other day that he liked, and it was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
almost
he doesn't
cried.
like. He doesn't like tofu either.
Hates tofu. Like
Yeah.
that's the one thing where he's like, if you could just like not put that on my plate, I'd be cool. So I don't remember what it was. I'll have to ask him, but he loved it so much. And it was like a turning point where he's like, okay, I guess I could try other dishes that have tofu, because this one time it didn't taste like crap to him. I'm like, look at that. Opening your eyes. What's up? He doesn't like, doesn't make a big deal about it ever. Like it's very, I don't know how to say, I don't want to say cordial. Like that's the wrong word. He's very open to wherever we go to eat, making sure that it's vegan for me. It does, going out to eat can be a pain sometimes.
Right.
For us, mainly because I don't live close to a lot of options. Like there's not a lot of, where you live, you can go freaking anywhere.
Everywhere I live has a lot of like Indian and Asian restaurants, and those by default have a ton of options. Yeah.
Right.
I have like 4 Asian restaurants that are just vegan options, actually.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places near me that even really have like something that's an option for me. My oldest daughter did message me the other day and she was like, Mom, this burger place down where I live, they have Impossible Burgers now. You can come eat with me. And I was like, oh, you're so cute. Can we ask about the bun? I don't want a lettuce wrap burger. God. I refuse. You can't make me. I'll bring my own bun, bitch.
So kind of going back to the cooking thing, because we're gonna plow through all this stuff. Going through all back to the cooking thing. So I think that's the thing about it. I think if somebody is with is dating or relationship with, or married to, or blah, 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 whatever, living with, whatever, a person who's non-vegan, and you do the majority of the cooking, I think it's important to communicate the cooking and what they don't like, and not just assume.
Yes.
Because like if they don't like tofu, if you're cooking dinner and it's tofu based, you might, and you're cooking something vegan, you might have to find another protein option, or at least a secondary option if you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So
which I do. Yeah. I keep some things on standby that I know he likes. If it's going to be a tofu dish, he doesn't really like tempeh either, so it's kind of difficult for him to find vegan
People
protein.
Don't like that fermented. Yeah. So what do you normally use in those cases then?
He does like a little bit of seitan options, so he does like that. So I keep some of like the already like pre-marinated kinds that are like flavored or whatever. He likes like he loves a good bean, so like I can add a good big old chunk of beans and shit in there, and he's fine with that. So like there's other options. He likes like any kind of fake vegan chicken. He loves it. He loves all of the brands, so like I'll throw that in just to give him something that's like meat like he's like this is close enough. But like we are because he eats so much vegan stuff, I can't remember the last time he purchased meat in a grocery store. Like it's just not, I don't even know if there's any in our freezer. I'm trying to picture if there's any. So like that is amazing to me. A few years ago, that's not how things were. I would make one meal for me, and then I would make one meal for him, and he would cook the meat so I didn't have to cook it. And it would be like 2 completely different meals, and that was for a long time.
Right.
But I give a lot of credit to Purple Carrot. Shout out. Y'all should sponsor us. I mean, gosh, it's like the 15th shout out now, but whatever. I give a lot of credit to to Purple Carrot because it's a bunch of very interesting meals, ones I probably never would have made before. Very, very delicious. And he cooks with me. There's a lot of times where we can cook together and he gets to see how fresh the ingredients are. And, you know, if you're a part of the cooking process, then it like you get more into the food and that you're about to eat, right? So I've made him kind of become part of my kitchen staff. And so now he really enjoys the food, he enjoys cooking with me, and I think it's made a big difference to include him.
Right.
I also include him when I watch like Seaspiracy. He watched that with me. So if I'm doing something like for this podcast where I'm doing research about something vegan, I talk to him about it. Not just because he's my husband, but because I like to put that information in his brain,
Plant
you
that
know, like
seed.
I just like to do that because the more that I have done that, the more educated he just slowly becomes.
Mm.
He like, there's no more like, I need a whole different meal. There's no more like kind of bickering about that kind of thing. He just accepted we're a vegan family basically, and this is just how it is. When we go out to eat,
Mm.
sometimes he does pick a vegan option. Like seriously, he does. Now there are times when he just doesn't, and we look like the weirdest couple you've ever seen in your life. Where I'm like Mellow Mushroom getting a vegan pizza, and he's getting like not.
Very
And
much
they're like,
not. Yeah, I've heard.
you two are weird. I'm like, I know, keep his shit away from mine, thank you.
Never did treat him.
So, but it really, I think the only issue we have is going out to eat. And, you know, we've done a lot of episodes about going out to eat with your friends, going out to events, and things like that. We've had people we've interviewed talk about how the social aspect of being vegan can be the most difficult part of it. And I find that to be true when you're dating a non vegan. The social aspects can be far more difficult than eating at home and having dinner together. That you can work with. When we want to go out to dinner, we really got to think about it.
Gymnastics have to
It's
go. Yeah.
not just what we're, yeah, it's like, how far do I want to drive?
Mm.
Was the first question, because I could get anything I want if I drove to Atlanta, but that's like an hour drive sometimes.
Right.
So it's like, how far do I want to drive? And do I need a place that has both options? Or is he, you know, up for just a vegan meal? If we want to get something quick, that's more difficult, right? So there's not a lot of places near us that make it easy for us to go out to eat. So that is usually the one little pain that we have. Other than that, food isn't really an issue anymore. He's so curious now.
Right.
Like, what are you cooking? What's in that? What's that taste like? And I just never thought it would be like this. Like when I first went vegan, I was like, how am I going to be married to a non-vegan who's like thinks I'm a wackadoo? Like, how am I going to do this? This is going to cause problems in our marriage. But it hasn't. It's only, I think, in a way brought us a little bit closer because now we cook together. Now he's more conscious of my reasonings for the way I eat. I'm not just eating like I used to be healthy, blah, blah. It's because like there's a whole lot that goes behind being vegan, and he is way more open to it than he used to be. Granted, it is like year like 6, so
right at this point, you know, you
taken
might
a
be
while.
settled into it. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not, I will give him shit for the beginning, but he's done much better.
So when if you know in a situation where a vegan, non-vegan are going out and to dinner, let's say it's a date or something like that, obviously. When it comes to footing the bill, how would that work?
Oh gosh.
Because I mean, I know I dated a vegetarian and I had a rule like I'll pay for dinner or whatever, but if as long as it's vegan. But
that's a good question.
You know, but if you like if you want to get like something that's not, then we're splitting it. That was how
right.
Usually she was like, that's fine. I'll get vegan. I'm vegetarian. I can do it. It's like, of course you will.
I love that you. That's how you get. That's great. That's so good. I think the reason that's a hard question for me is because like we're married. So like
Right.
it's our money together.
Oh, okay.
But if
Unless
we
you
were
got a joint account
dating,
or
like we have, yeah, we our account is always together. But if we were dating, I would never pay for his food if it was not vegan. I feel the same way as you do,
yeah.
because like that's just like me going out and buying a bunch of meat. Like
Right.
I don't want to contribute to that. And I also would like you to kind of be a little bit more open to possibly trying something else. I also don't think I would ever, after, if anything, God forbid, anything ever happens to my husband or our marriage ends for some freaking reason, I don't know that I could ever date a non-vegan because you're going to piss me off so much. Like I just don't think I can. And if he had continued to be like freaked out by my veganism this whole time, that
Right.
would have been a problem.
Right.
But he is like turned it around. So like I just don't think I couldn't pay for your non-vegan food. And I would never want to like go on a date to like a zoo, you know, like the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Me paying for your non-vegan food is I might as well like go to the zoo and make fun of the chimps that are suffering. Like what I mean, what a weird thing to do. I mean, I guess what do you think other people would say to that?
I don't know. I mean, I know. I mean, typically what I've heard is that is like, okay, if we're doing if you just choose a non-vegan option, then that your that's that bill, that part of the bill is yours.
Right.
That's usually what I hear. So I've heard some couples, they just like, well, it is what it is, and they don't do it. Most of the I think they had the same deal.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting. I'd never even thought about that question.
yeah, and that was true. Like my ex and I, we lived together, so we would go grocery shopping, and
Mm-hmm.
I bought the groceries for the house, and I mean I had she was a student and stuff, so like I had a job. She had like a very like half part-time job and was a student. So that was ruled like if you want to get this like cheese sauce, you
Yeah.
can, because it's a vegetarian household, but you're gonna get it.
Yep.
Now if you want to get the vegan
Mm-hmm.
cheese option, put it in the cart. Let's go. Let's do it. That's how that was the rule. I think from what I understand, that's from what I've heard people talk about. That's usually the rule of like
Mm-hmm.
if it comes to the point where that person would normally foot the bill for something, they would, as long as it's all vegan option. Otherwise, the person has to cover their own cost. Which
Right.
but I think it's important if you're you're starting to date someone, or if you're a guy and you're going on a date, someone's vegetarian or non-vegan, and you're like on a first date, or you're meeting up for drinks, whatever, or coffees, whatever. Be forward with like, hey, I'm plant-based, I'm vegan, so if we could do like not have a meat option, I'd appreciate it.
Right.
I think it's also a good, especially on a first date or first few dates, the person's not respectful of that and understanding.
Yes.
That's a good sign of like, this is not going to work. It's going to be red flag. They're obviously not going to respect your boundaries, your morals.
Yeah, that'd probably be a great way
it's a
to
great sign.
eliminate some like
Yeah.
real trouble that you probably would have noticed for quite a while,
Yeah.
is if they give you any shit about that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great way.
Yeah, I think questions and stuff like that at the beginning are great. But to your point, if Todd had harped and got
Yes,
pissed
that would have been a
and fought,
problem.
I mean,
Mhm.
I'd be interesting like how that would have turned out.
Yeah, I don't think it would have. That would have
Yeah,
been a problem,
That
a real problem, because that's like, I don't know. It's a huge part of my life. It's not, being vegan is not about just the way I eat, like it encompasses every aspect of my life. And it's morally important to me. So it's not just some flippant thing like I took up CrossFit or something stupid. Like it's not like I'm just taking up a fad or a habit or
A
creating
hobbit.
like some kind of new hobby that I love. Let's just be a vegan for fun.
Let's see what
Like it's a
happens.
big part of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if he wasn't like into it, eventually that would have been a real problem.
Yeah.
So oh gosh, I hope people show their colors like real quick
Yeah, I think the
when you
point thing,
first started dating.
that's the point too, is to have like know what your breaking point is. Like, okay, this is enough. And
Yeah.
share that with the person and be like, okay, look, I know this isn't your deal, but this is my breaking point of your. And I have a friend of mine that I talk to quite a bit. She's actually is a vegan amateur boxer,
Oh, that's cool.
super like talented. Um, but and she was actually in a relationship with someone who just was constant debating and arguing and want to go on and on and on and on. And she
No.
was like, "No, I can't. This is not. No, it's not okay. I'm not trying to push this on. Trying not to push it on you. I answer your questions, but to debate me constantly and give me shit for it, I'm not okay with that." So she
Yeah.
part of the reason that ended is because he was just so confrontational about it. And she was very vocal about her like, this is not okay. This is my breaking point. This is this is my boundary and you're crossing it.
Right,
So I
exactly.
think it's important
That's
to
the
establish
point.
that.
There is a boundary. Yes. And I don't know how I would handle it as like a single person, like going into a relationship with someone, but there you have all those conversations. You and I have talked about what it's like dating as a vegan. You do talk about it before those dates. You have all these conversations. They know that it's important to you before
Right.
you even go on that first date. I'm assuming they already know that it's important. So I find, like, if you're going to date a non-vegan, they're either going to be a compassionate person that is like totally okay and like will follow your lead and go along with it, or you're going to have the opposite where they're just like a big old I want to argue with you person. But
Yeah.
how do you even, I don't even know how you would even get to the dating part if this was a I want to argue with you person. Wouldn't you even notice that beforehand?
You'd
You know what
think,
I
yeah.
mean?
You'd think. I
Ah,
this is years and years back when I worked for a nonprofit. I went out there for I think it was just to meet the team and stuff. I was out in California, and one of the guys there was dating at the time, and he came back from a date. The night that I got there, he came back from his date, and he was like, he was complaining because he told like the girl he was on a date with that he was vegan, and they went to a restaurant and she wasn't vegan, and then she actually ordered chicken, and he's like,
oh
ah.
my God.
And he didn't have the conversation with her. He just assumed
Right.
that she would understand. And like, what do? He was like, I paid for the whole thing. I didn't know what else to do because it was awkward. Which is weird because he was very not the person who would do that. He was also had like it's like probably social anxieties. He's like, I don't make
Right.
it weird. I'll pay for it. We'll leave. Just it happens and I'll move on.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
get
it's
that.
you got to be very vocal of like, this is important to me. I'd appreciate if you'd
Right.
order this. If if um, sorry.
I also don't see like a non-vegan, like, I don't know why you would seek out a vegan partner if you're going to be a dick about it the whole time. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people would be
yikes.
surprised. I think it's I don't know. It's I think some people have this idea of what it's like, or like, oh, you're vegan. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Some people don't
Hmm.
understand
Yeah.
what it is. Like, like, but you eat. I mean, how many times have people like tell people that you're vegan? They go, but you eat eggs though, right? Like, no, that's not what that is. What about
He's so
fish? Like,
stupid.
really, vegan is everywhere. Like, Burger King has an Impossible Burger, Impossible Whopper.
Yes.
It's
Hmm.
everywhere, and people are still like, yeah, but you eat
What's
fish.
that?
Right, you eat fish. Like, do you not know what this is? So since you guys live together, right? You guys live together
Hmm.
still.
Yeah, of course.
So what happened to maybe any existing or future, or I guess now past purchases regarding like housewares, like couches and like comforters and things like that either had animal products or maybe like leather or things like
Right.
that, and then like making the decisions after the fact.
Okay, so that is something that we have encountered. So we have never been like our bedding isn't like an issue. There's no down bedding in our family. Like, that's creeps me out in general. I've never, even before vegan, I was like, no, thank you. There's no, thank you. That's weird. Don't like that. Um, we have had a few things in the house that were leather or silk or something like that, and they just kind of slowly disappear. I don't know where they go.
Slowly
But they're
found the way
not
to the
things that
corner
anybody cared about. They just happen to be here. So he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care if there's leather stuff. Like, he's like, you can get rid of it. I don't care. He doesn't care about any kind of like certain clothing, like nothing. He doesn't feel like attached to anything, and he gets that it's kind of gross. Like, we talked about how leather is just the most disgusting thing on the planet to me. Like, it just thoroughly wigs me out.
Sure.
And the more you talk about these subjects with people, like, he didn't understand like the sea and the ocean and things that were happening there until he saw Seaspiracy. And now he's like, ew, oh my God, that's horrible. Like he just
Yeah.
learns things. So the more we talk about like the realities of you are sitting on the skin of an animal that's so repulsive. And he's
Right.
like, that is kind of gross. Yeah, you're right. That's gross. Like the more you talk about it, the more he's just like, okay, I can get on board with that. And so like I went and bought a new car recently, and there were two options. One of them was a tiny bit more money and it had all leather stuff.
Mm.
And then there was one that was just a little bit less. And he looked at me and he goes, well, I know which one you're going to pick. And the guy was like, well, yeah, the leather, the fancy one. I'm like, no, sir, I'll go with this cloth one over here.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was like, what? And the man really did look at me like I was weird. Like, why would I not just spend just a tiny bit more for this fancier car? Yes, it did have all kinds of features I would have loved, but it was covered in leather. And I wanted to avoid getting a car that has leather because, again, it grosses me out.
Yeah.
And my last car had leather seats.
Mhm.
And at the time, it didn't really faze me. And it was really my only option. But when I had a choice, when I could consciously choose, I was like, no, I'm picking the cloth one. And he knew it. He was just like, that's fine, go for it. Whatever, feels comfortable for you. He would never push a leather couch on me. He would never do any of that
Hope
stuff.
not. That would crush you.
Oh, I would never. Oh, gross. No.
Leather couch, push the leather couch. Okay, anyway. Everyone out there listening, you guys got the joke. It's fine.
You're so dumb.
It's a dad joke. It's a great dad joke. He would never push the leather couch on me. Well, we wouldn't. That'd crush you. Boo, boo, doo, boo, 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 boo.
That was a good one.
Okay.
Oh wow, you're a little fired, but that was a really
That's
good
fine.
one.
That's fine. It's late now.
Oh God. Okay. I have tears in my eyes for that one.
I'm glad
So we haven't had any issues with like household goods or anything like that, but that is something, you would have to talk to someone about if you were to move in together and say they aren't vegan, but they're like super open to everything. That is something you're gonna have to discuss. Like if she has a down bedding that she's bringing to your house, like maybe you don't want that. And how do you have that conversation? But if being vegan is important to you, that is a conversation you need to have. Like you do need to discuss what your boundaries are, like what is okay and what isn't okay in your world.
Right.
So like if she has like her bedding in the spare bedroom, is that okay with you as opposed to the bed you share with them? Like there may be a compromise that some people maybe could make, but we stayed in an Airbnb for a few months when our house was being repaired, and they had down bedding, and I fucking hated it. It was so disgusting. Just even again, like it wakes me out. I don't know. It's just freaks me out. So I literally brought my own blankets from home because I was like, I can't do this. It's like the little feathers poke you sometimes, which is again so gross.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't. So
I
I just got my own.
When I stayed at Airbnbs, I always message the owner like, is your bedding is your pillows or your comforters down?
So smart.
And then so I was like, when one time they're like, yeah, we have down pillows. And I asked them like, do you have alternatives to switch it out with? Because I told them I was like, vegan. I won't lay on them. I can read them on pillows, but if you have non-down, you can switch them out with. I'd appreciate it. And they did. They said, yeah. And they actually had some spare pillows, and they switched them out for me. But I asked,
so smart.
I asked like, is there anything in there down? I don't want to,
That's a great tip. That has nothing to do with this episode, but that is a great tip.
Yeah, I
would never would have thought to call.
I stayed at one that had a leather couch, and I had to go with that one only because like it was short notice and there were other options.
It's a couch.
And I said on it because like I didn't buy it, but I didn't.
Right.
But it's like it was literally like I needed to go to this thing, and the other options were twice as much. Like, okay, I can't afford otherwise. So I was like, all right, I'll be fine just for a few days.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart though. I never would have thought of that. Ugh.
Ooh, hey guys, I've been I hear like on the off the cuff, new episode idea. Traveling.
Yes.
We had to do a traveling episode.
Yes, that's a good one.
Boom.
And there are some like vegan travelers on TikTok. Maybe one of them would like to chit chat with us. Ooh, that's a great idea.
So I think one thing is when it comes to someone who's not necessarily in a relationship, such as yourself, but also someone people who are looking to date. I wonder how that affects their connections, like people they can actually like connect with. Because you pointed out, like why if you're a non-vegan looking to date a vegan, I think that kind of reduces like that's the problem I had, right? I was like, it reduces my pool. As a vegan looking
Right.
for a vegan, it was my pool. So I think one issue is how that reduces your possibility of connections.
Yeah, because again, it's not just about food. It does change some of the dates you might go on. Like there are things that non-vegans will go and do that we will not. Like we've talked about going to a zoo or an aquarium or things like that. So it does kind of cause a little bit of a pain point to have to like figure out dates that are, cohesive for both of you. But I think like if the non-vegan can in no way understand your reasonings for being vegan, that's where you're going to have a hard time connecting. If they're like our friend Rosie, who is the most vegan friendly person in the
Oh
world,
yeah.
I could date her because she's cool. Like she'll eat the vegan food. She doesn't push to go to non-vegan places, even though she used to work at one. She is like super vegan friendly,
Right.
right? So if you're going to date a non-vegan, I feel like they need to be again vegan friendly. That's just the way I'm going to put it because that's how I describe Rosie. Because otherwise, you're going to have some areas where you butt heads and they're not going to understand your reasoning. I've already said in this episode, being vegan is like a moral thing for me. It's meaningful to me. Like there is a I am saving lives. I'm protecting these living beings. It's
Mm.
not just I don't want to eat your cheese. Like it's so more than that. And if they can't understand that, if they don't in some way get that, then I don't see how you could date. I
Right.
just don't because they have to at least understand why you're vegan and understand the deep meanings, not just the superficial meanings.
Right.
And be open to things. Like they can't just be, we always have to go to a place that has both options because I'm always going to pick a non-vegan option. I could never date someone like that. If they're like, we can all, once in a while, we can go to an all vegan place like Cafe Sunflower, our favorite place in Atlanta, or,
Mm.
things like we can watch Seaspiracy together. Like if they're open to your side of life, then you can have a connection. But I think that's the same thing as if they have a different religion than you, or, you know, let's make it super superficial. What if they're like a diehard Star Trek fan and you find that silly pants? You still have to listen to their stories about their favorite episodes. You still
Mm-hmm.
should watch some episodes with them. Like you still should be like a part of their thing. And being vegan is my thing. And if you can't be somewhat a part of that in some way and like encourage me and understand, then I don't know how a relationship would work. Oh, that sounds mean. But I truly believe that you kind of have to, just like if you're going to be in, participate in my vegan lifestyle, then I'm going to watch your favorite sport that I find is stupid. Like, like there's things you kind of have to do if you're going to
Yeah.
be in a couple. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing to me.
Yeah. I think you have to be aware too that if you're going to, it's two things, right? So if you're going to choose to as a vegan look to date non-vegan, one to be very kind of your point a little bit is to be upfront about it and be like, this is a thing. This is important. You don't have to do this thing, but it's serious, right? If you're just kind of
Yes.
nonchalant about it,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna give mixed messages. Like if you with Todd, I'm sure if you were like, it's okay, he probably would have kept putting the meat in your face and doing all kinds. Not
Yes.
even meaning
Mm-hmm.
to, but giving that missed message of it's really important to you, but you're trying to be nice about it.
Right.
So being very upfront about it, understanding and doing that, you're gonna basically reduce that dating pool or if
Yes.
you're if you're currently in a relationship with someone who's not vegan and you go vegan, you're interjecting a possible conflict that the person has
True.
to be respectful about that boundary, or it could. I mean, I've heard people like break up because like they went vegan, their other partner was a dick about it, or they just weren't cool with it, or they had a problem. Like, okay, well, this is who I am now, so you can either
Yeah.
love me for who I am, move forward, or you can fuck off, and they fuck off. So I think bear in mind it definitely adds a layer, it reduces your dating pool,
Yes.
or can add conflict that everyone has to kind of be prepared to deal with.
I think that that kind of fits for any big change that someone makes, like
Right.
if you can't participate and be a part of their big thing, then there's going to be a huge problem. Like, so suddenly, what if you change careers and now all you talk about is this brand new career? I have to be into that now. Like, that's like my job as your significant other. Like, I have to learn about your new job, and like my husband just switched jobs and he now does something I find super boring. But guess what? I'm learning about it because
Yeah.
he's my freaking husband. Because that's what
Yeah.
you do so you can stay connected and not have conflict. I need to know details about what he does for a living. So like it would be the same thing for me. I want to be upfront about it. You're right. That is a very, very important thing, to not send mixed messages. Again, I never would have thought to say that like that, but you're right. I mean, if you're flippant 1 minute and super hardcore the next, you're going to
Right.
be very confusing to them. And you can be that way in the beginning when you first go vegan. You can have those like, oh, those points where you're not perfect,
Those.
as we
Yeah.
say. And that can cause some confusing moments for people. But I think just the more you understand the ethical parts of being vegan and you relay that to whoever you are dating, they there just has to be a point where they either have to accept that that is very important to you, or that's not something they can live with. It's the same thing as
Yeah.
if you like took up a new religion or something different. Like you can either accept it or you can haul ass.
Pretty much
Like that's your choice.
is it one or the
Yikes.
other. So I have you have you dealt with I'm not sure how. I mean, especially Todd being non vegan, sure there were might have been slip ups with like gifts, like holiday, birthday, or just random gifts that were not on the vegan side.
Not really, no, because he knows what to get. I think maybe in the beginning he might have made a few mistakes and didn't realize like what he bought wasn't vegan. He's done
Right.
that with food a few times, that's for sure. Now he knows what to look for. Like there have been times when he has brought me home like a delicious dessert. He was so proud, and then I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
Like I have to burst his bubble and be like, there's like gelatin in this, which is like soup's gross.
I appreciate that, but
And
that's
I feel
hoofs.
so
That's
bad,
skin.
but it helps him learn. So
Right.
that's fine. But I feel like if I was given a non-vegan gift, I have to say something. I can't accept it. Like I just can't, because one, I'm being fake on all kinds of levels.
Right.
I'm being fake to the person who gave it to me, and I'm being a fake vegan if I'm taking your non-vegan gift. Like that's not okay to me. But you have to be like super nice
Right. That's the
about
thing
it,
about
because
it.
I have yeah, I think I've had family members give me something that was non-vegan. It had leather on it from what I remember. And I mean, you have to be very nice about it. They, for the most part, they most likely don't know.
Right.
Like I've never been given something like out of like, oh, I'm gonna give the vegan leather. Like I've never had anybody like a dick like that. But it has been a mistake sometimes, I think. Like they didn't realize what they were giving to me had like a little bit of like a leather part on it or something, and I'm like, ooh, I love you. Is there any way we can exchange this for something else? Like,
Yeah.
is there any like option that doesn't have this on there? Or if Todd brings me like a delicious dessert that I can't eat, I'm like, this is yours now.
It's like,
Yay
thank you.
for
You can have it.
you. More for you.
Because I could seem like doing it on purpose. Like, I got you ice cream. Oh no, it's not vegan. Okay, then I will have it. I'm so sorry.
You know what? He just brought me some cookie dough ice cream, and I had to double check and make sure because that's his favorite kind. I'm like, you're gonna sneak it in, aren't you?
Oh no, you can't have this. I guess I will have to eat it so it doesn't go
Oh
bad.
my gosh. I
So
haven't encountered like non-vegan gifts too often, but
how would
to me, morally, I can't accept it. I have to be very nice about kind of finding an alternative that we could switch it out for, is kind of how I would do it.
this is kind of related to the whole topic, but what if the non-vegan part can be removed?
Ooh, okay. Then
Like
yeah.
it's got like a little tassel thing. You're like, ooh, go snap and just
Yeah. If I could take it off, there you go.
Yeah.
Can we just you could keep this
You just
part and I'll
snap
just
it off.
keep the rest of it.
You find the cow that's
That's a
belonged to,
good
put it
point.
back on it. Yeah, so that's the thing about it. Yeah, I think the main thing that I think is being nice. You make a good point because especially if you're in a relationship with someone, you don't want to start some shit. Because especially, I think if it's an accident, if they're being an ass, like
Yes.
okay, look, that's not funny, but you gotta be a little more
Yes.
direct. But if they're just like, I got you a nice jacket or a purse or some sort of bag, and it's like, this is great, but I appreciate it, can't have this.
Yeah.
I think you have to be kind of nice about it because they obviously went out of their way, but
Right. And
yeah.
you don't want to make them feel like now they can't buy you anything.
Right.
So,
Especially if that's their love language.
explain why. Right. Explain why it's not vegan, why you can't accept it, and what could be a good alternative for that product. Because there's always an alternative that's, vegan. So I think there's ways to go about it. Yeah, it's going to be an awkward situation, though. Let's not be silly here. It's for sure awkward, but it can be handled delicately.
Yes, that's the main thing. Just be nice, be polite, be understanding that it wasn't done on purpose. But
Yeah.
and I think if somebody gave me a non-vegan gift, but that not the non-vegan part could be removed, like it was like it's a jacket, but it has like a leather little pull thing, I would just cut that thing off. Like, all right, we're good.
Yeah.
Because I didn't
Yeah.
buy it, my money didn't go towards it, and I can
Exactly.
remove that part of it, so it's not there. I think that's okay. But if it's like a leather
Yeah.
belt, I'd be like, nah, man, I can't just have a buckle.
And you know what? If it was like something that could be removed, I might not even say anything to them.
Right.
I don't know. Just because, again, it's so awkward. I don't know if I would, unless it's like a big part that they're going to notice I took off.
Right. Yeah,
But-
exactly. Like you just take the outside of the jacket and have just the filling, like just tape it.
Skin the jacket. Ew,
Yeah.
ew.
I don't know how that would even work. So do you have like any closing advice for a person starting out a relationship or already in a relationship with a person who's not vegan?
I do. So something has been coming into my little head here as we've been talking. There have been instances where we have gone to social gatherings and other people have been rude to me because I'm vegan. And these are people that were friends of my husband's. And those are instances where I am like, I can defend myself and I can make this person feel very small if I want to. But my husband would chime right in. And that's how I knew he was going to be okay with me being vegan, because he always had my back when people gave me shit.
Yeah.
If you're with someone who lets other people talk shit to you about the way you eat, that is not an okay person to be with.
Yeah.
If they're going to let other people berate you because you don't kill animals, then you need to dump them. Like,
Right.
literally just do it. Because these were people he had known for 20 something years, and they were so rude to me that I left the event
Mm.
almost immediately. It's like, I'm not going to be at a place where people talk down to me, no matter what the subject is, but especially because I'm not killing animals. Like, that's the dumbest reason for you to ever insult me, you stupid people. So he had my back that day, and that proved to me right then and there, even though at that point he was not eating my vegan food, I was like, okay, he gets why I'm vegan, because he defended me with like reasonings why. And he supports me, even if he's not eating the same way. And he will always have my back if someone messes with me because of this subject. Well, any subject, but especially this. And it doesn't matter if you're his friend, he will cut you off. Guess what? We don't talk to those people anymore. We have not hung out with them since that day.
Oh, wow.
And I had only been vegan like maybe 2 years at that point. So it's been 4 years now. We do not talk to them because, one, who are you to insult someone's wife? Who the
Right.
fuck are you?
Right.
And two, again, really dumb reason to insult me. And the man who insulted me was a large boy. Who are you? Watch yourself.
Right.
God, shut up. Oh, it makes me mad. I wish I could call you guys out by name, but I won't.
Right.
I won't. So I think that when you are going into a relationship with someone who is not vegan, if you have already like established this is going to be a relationship, then I would hope that you have had those conversations about why being vegan is important to you. And you didn't just jump into a relationship and not discuss that, because that's where you're giving those mixed signals that it's not as important to you as it is. If it's something that is truly a huge part of your life, and you know, there are some people eat vegan food for their health reasons, and maybe a lot of these subjects don't come up for them, right? They're more plant-based than they are vegan. That's fine. But if you are truly an advocate for animals and a true vegan, then those conversations have to happen before you even enter into a relationship. Like, you need to make sure this is the person who's going to support your decision, even if they don't want to eat that way. They have to support the way that you choose to live your life. Otherwise, what kind of partner is that?
Right.
Come on. If they can't support what you put in your mouth and don't put in your mouth, that's the problem. Like, they're not going to support a lot of things you do. You may want to change your career in the future. How do you know they're going to support that if they're not going to support this thing that you came into the relationship with?
Right.
It's a big telltale sign, I think, if someone is not supportive of what you're doing. My husband did not eat vegan food for the first few years, but he supported me. He
Right.
was okay with eliminating leather from our house, eliminating silk. He was okay with buying all the vegan food, and he slowly started to eat it. And now that's the majority of what he eats. It takes time. I will tell you that. And I can't promise that your non-vegan significant other is going to switch like mine did. But if they are loving you the way that you need to be loved, then they will support the way that you eat.
Right.
And the way that you consume products, the products you purchase, the entertainment you seek out, even the television you watch is influenced by, you know, being vegan. I always want to go back to, I no longer watch Ink Master anymore because they had dead pigs on one of their episodes that they tattooed. I have never watched a season since.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of my favorite shows. I cannot, because what if they do it again? I cried. I can't.
Wow.
So
I didn't know
being
that.
vegan
That's great.
impacts a lot of your life. And if the person you're dating cannot respect that, then they're not going to respect anything else in your life. And you have encountered that dating a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
Because she did not, sorry if you're listening, I doubt it, but she did not respect that you were vegan. She
Not
may
all
have
times.
said she did, but she did not respect that you were vegan, did not take it like seriously. It was not a big deal to her. She pretends, but it wasn't. And that's a big problem. Like, were instances where that caused a lot of issues.
Especially when
And
she would
I just
cook.
hope, go
she,
ahead.
She would cook things with cheese, and I'd be like, okay, look, you're vegetarian. I get it. This is a vegetarian household. Just please make sure you clean up all of it and you get it like wiped down and not in the sink. And I'd come in, it's on the counter, it's on the stove. There's like cheese stuff in the sink. I'm like, I don't want to. First, it stinks, and also I don't want to see it. You know, so that's one big conflict we would always have.
I just think if you're going to enter into a relationship with a non-vegan, this is the conversation you have first and foremost. Really like dive into it, really see how they feel, put them in situations where you can test how they're going to react. I know it sounds like playing a game, but take them places where, you know, there aren't any non-vegan options. What are they going to do? Why do I have to go to places that have no vegan options for me and I have to make do?
Yeah.
Why can't you? Like, there's just things where I can't imagine like dating someone who is, it almost feels like unless they're pro vegan, they're anti and it's going to be a problem,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That's my tips.
All right, good closing remarks there.
I just feel passionate that
I get you.
I just feel like it's going to lead to so many horrible things if you don't talk about it very in depth in the beginning.
Right.
And make it known that it's not just the food that you consume. It's a big deal to you. And they may have something in their life that is just as big of a deal. And I encourage you to also become a part of that, as long as it's, doesn't hurt animals. Again, it could be anything. What if they're super into like kickboxing and fighting stuff?
Right.
Todd was into that big time for a long time. I watched all the UFC stuff, love it. If he works out in it, I would probably go to the gym and watch him. I would want to be a part of that. If someone you love is into something, is passionate about something, you should also like be encouraged to learn about that. Just see if they're interested in learning about being vegan. Because if they're like, ooh, that's gross, get away from me, then ew, you're gross, get away from me.
Right. Right. Because
it's so much hand in hand.
Because so much of who you are, it's beyond red flag. That's like a red flare.
Yes. It's very important. I think if you're a true like hardcore vegan like we are, it's a very big part of who we are. It's not just, where I like to eat my lunch. So
Right.
I don't know. I feel like it could really eliminate a lot of jerks too.
Yeah.
If you just really push the vegan conversation in the beginning, it'll help you eliminate people that are never going to be okay with it.
Yeah. So you should be very direct and open about it.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Well,
that was fun.
It was.
I like talking about myself.
Oh, I know.
And my cool husband. I love him. He's the best. He is the best.
He is. You want to close us out?
I guess.
I would.
So we've talked about dating as a vegan. We've talked about dating a non-vegan. So I don't know if there's any more topics in this area we can dive into. But if anyone has any ideas, or if you have any advice for dating a non-vegan that I did not share today, then please message us on Instagram or Facebook at The Average Vegans, or email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com. Of course, you can find us on all the podcast places, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, all that. Please make sure to leave us a review. We would love you all the times. Thank you. Recommend us to your friends, family, coworkers, strangers, the delivery driver. You can find show notes, links, and all that stuff at theaveragevegans.com. And we will link to our dating as a vegan episode as well. So if you want to listen to that one. And we want to hear all of your tips about this subject. We've talked about both parts of it. So we want to hear your sides. Like, what are your tips on dating as a vegan and dating non-vegans? So let us know. And that's it for this week.
All right. Well, until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.